Bula Fiji, and a warm welcome to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. I'm Louise Kaunisela. The Montfort Boys Town has been around since I can remember. The school gives an opportunity to youth who attend the school to develop their hidden talents and mold them into well-behaved, hardworking, productive citizens of the country. Now, my guest today is from the Montfort Boys Town, and it's Brother Jim. Welcome to Speak Your Mind.
Thanks a lot. A very pleasant good afternoon.
Thank you indeed.
My name is Brother Jim, and I am from Montfort Boys Town. I joined the congregation. It is a religious congregation of the Order of the Catholic Church. It started in France, 1715, and then we operate in 35 countries across the globe. And Fiji and Tonga comes onto the South Pacific mission of the Montfort Brothers. In Fiji itself, we are running two technical colleges. One is in Montfort Boys Town in Vesari, and another one is in Savu Montfort Technical Institute. We also were running Xavier College and St. Thomas Lautoka Secondary School, but recent past there was, the principals of the schools were changed, but still we hold the managerial post in St. Thomas and Xavier.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
In Montfort Brothers, when the member joins the congregation, they will educate you first and foremost on the rules and regulations and the theology and philosophy of Montfort Brothers of St. Gabriel. Okay. They also educate you into the academic excellence. I was fortunate enough to be educated as one of the doctors of Montfort Brothers of St. Gabriel. I studied in Bangkok, and I graduated in the field of marketing. So that is what I am. I also I came to the shores of Fiji in 1995, and then I went for a short mission to teach in Bangkok in the university, and then later on I went to Africa for 5 years, and I am back again to the shores of Fiji. I love this country.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so you mentioned St. Gabriel and the rules and regulations. You might like to explain a little bit more about that.
Montfort Brothers of St. Gabriel, we need to learn the theology of the Catholic Church, as well as how to mingle with the youth of any of these countries where we are stationed. Primarily, our mission in the Catholic Church is as educators. So we go in for schools, primary schools, secondary schools, colleges, universities. We also have technical colleges. In India itself, we are running 200 plus schools. And that is, number of them are, each school will be having around 2,000 to 3,000 students enrolled in each schools.
I see. So for the one that we have, that's just past Lami, right?
That's right.
Okay, so how do you only accept students that belong to the Roman Catholic faith, or is it for everyone?
Certainly not.
Okay.
The all youth, primarily we concentrate on the rural youth of Fiji.
Okay.
We also take from the urban, but primarily the importance is given to the rural youth of Fiji to empower them.
Okay, so how do you get the rural youth to come to Montfort?
We sort of advertise in the sense to send through letters to the schools, the Catholic Church priests, the parishes, and different ways that we normally introduce our program to the rural youth. And also the ex-scholars of Montfort Boys Town, they also recruit the students for Montfort Boys Town. So they do come. In fact, there is no fees levied in Montfort Boys Town. Many of the people in Fiji generally believe that there is a tuition fee that need to be paid. There is no fee levied at Montfort Boys Town.
Oh,
Absolutely, it is free. We only charge boarding fees according to the capabilities of each parent.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay, that's really good to know. So you have a lot of students, and what is the ratio like with students and teachers?
We have got 131 students at the moment enrolled at the Montfort Boys Town.
Okay.
We have got 32 teachers teaching different realms or faculties to the students.
Thank you. So what are the activities that the youth of the Montfort Boys Town normally do?
In fact, let me begin with the history of Montfort Boys
Okay,
Town.
thank you. That would be good.
Montfort Boys Town, Montfort brothers landed on the shores of 1972 with the invitation of late then Prime Minister of Fiji, the revered statesman
Kamisese Mara?
Kamisese
Ratu, I
Mara.
should say, yes.
Now, he happened to visit Singapore. When he happened to visit Singapore, he had an opportunity to visit Montfort Boys Town in Singapore. Then when he saw the working modalities of Boys Town in Singapore, he wanted to start a similar program in Fiji.
So he must have been impressed when he saw what was
Exactly.
happening.
So he sent a request to Rome, and then Rome wanted to contact the Singapore brothers, but then Singapore brothers were less. Then they directed the request through Rome to India, and that is how the three brothers landed on the shores of Fiji in 1972.
How nice, yes.
The story, I would say, with a story in itself. There was a gentleman called Richard Buck in America. He wrote a book called Jonathan Livingston, the Seagull.
Okay, the seagull, the bird.
That's right. That seagull, the protagonist of that story is this Jonathan, the bird, the gull.
Okay.
This seagull thought, what is the daily purpose of fighting for food crumbs rather than my life is given another dimension to discover? So instead of fighting for the food that is being fought every day, he said, I am given or I am blessed with the wings, therefore let me soar into the blue sky. So that is how it went, and when it started flying, and it became an expert in flying. So the story talks about by the Richard Buck. It talks about in our daily life, the purpose of life need to be discovered, not just a normal existence on earth. No, we need to go yonder than what we are. I believe that when God gives us a life, it is a gift from God.
Right.
And when we give the gift to God, is that what we discover, what we can do with our life is our gift to God.
That's very true. But we'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind. Do stay with us. We'll have more soon. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. My guest in the studio today is from Montfort Boys Town, a very famous name. I know it really is famous for me anyway. And this is Brother Jim. Now, you spoke about Richard Buck and the story about the seagull before we had to go into a break. So you can continue now, brother.
So the Jonathan the bird, it flew high yonder and yonder, and it got the strength on the wings, and then it came back and then said that this is not the way to live. Therefore, he called a few young girls and said, I will teach you how to fly. Our inspiration comes something similar to this Jonathan Livingston, the seagull.
Okay.
We also said that why can't we give a little more larger extended dimension to the rural youth of Fiji? And therefore, we have started the Montfort Boys Town. That is the primary reason that we have started, so that the rural students of Fiji can climb onto the shoulders of our teachers and see yonder and further than what they could see in their day-to-day lives.
Yes, I mean, because for the fact that you have trade skills, I believe, that you
Exactly,
teach,
yeah.
because not everyone is academically, really smart to get a
Right.
Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Arts. But the thing is that the market for the trade skills that you offer at Montfort Boys Town, it offers such a great future for your boys, because, I mean, they can make good money with the things that you teach at Montfort Boys
True,
Town.
very true.
Yes.
The activities of Montfort is encompassed in the 5 C's. The first C, we talk about competence. Let me explain to you with a story. Competence, when we talk about, there was a small boy called Jim. He went into the class, and every time he asked the teacher a question, the teacher had always some sort of convincing answer to give to Jim. So one day, Jim said, I will go home and catch a bird and then bring it to the teacher. And then I will ask the teacher whether this funny question, and if the teacher can give me the right answer, then I can accept that he is a good teacher. So Jim went back to the home, he threw the bags, and then he went to the bush, he caught a myna and then kept it alive. The following morning, the fellow takes it to the classroom and then hide it behind his bag. And then ask the teacher, teacher, is this bird is alive or dead? If the teacher says it is alive, he will squeeze his head and drop dead. If the teacher says it is dead, he will just free his hand and the bird will flutter. And Jim knew that this time Jim could catch the teacher and completely trapped.
Okay.
So when the teacher was asked this question, the teacher said, Jim, the answer to your question lies in your hand. See, the teacher was very competent. When we say the first to see competent, we need to stand out from the pack. You establish your baseline. So what we normally do is the Aristotle's maxim, we are what we repeatedly do, then excellence is not an act, but it becomes a habit. So what we normally do is that one, make the boys repeatedly do the exercises so that they become an expert in that field. So first C stands for competence.
Right.
Second C stands for confidence. Look at the bird. When the bird sits on the branch, the bird does not deposit its trust on the branch or the strength of the branch. It deposits its trust on the wings.
Right.
The moment there is something, storm or something happens and the branch breaks down, the bird can just flutter away. So I used to tell my boys that you need to have your confidence in you and in you alone. And therefore, you need to have repeatedly do your exercise, build your confidence, and then you become an expert. Confidence also gives you courage to make decisions that is very favorable, not only for you, but your fellow citizens. So your first C is competence, second C is your confidence and courage. Third C is communication. I used to tell my boys that we are not second-class citizens. Although you may be coming from rural areas, probably your academic excellence are not very bright. Nonetheless, you have got a trait, you have got a skill, you have got a competence. And that can sell you and market you. You can become truly a leader. When you become a leader, the third C comes into picture, communication.
Right.
Invest your capacities and faculties into written and oral communications. A true leader need to give orders as well as to communicate his troops. So that is the 3C.
Right.
The fourth C we talk about consistency. As I told you, the Aristotle's maxim, we need to repeatedly do. So our timetable program in the school is 2 hours of theory, which will include theory, drawing, English, computer, soft skills. All that one will compass in that 2 hours. 6 hours, they will go to the practical room and then do the practical exercises. Joints, if it is a cabinet maker, he will learn different joints and get examined. The teacher says that you are not competent, repeat your exercise, and then it goes like that. And my fifth C comes on the compass. Have a dream. That the dream need to be achieved. So your compass should be directed to your goal. I used to say that every Montfortian who comes into Montfort should have 5 dreams.
Okay.
My first dream, I used to tell, the trade that you select, we have got 5 trades. We have got the fitting machining, we have got the cabinet making, building, plumbing, block laying, plastering. Then we have got the electrical trades, home appliances, repairs and maintenance. And then we have got automotive engineering, which will do panel beating, painting, the general maintenance of the vehicle. So if you are selecting one particular trade, and only a boy can select only one trade, he cannot select all the trades though. So once he gets into the first trade, you should have a dream of landing on a dream job. whenever we ask, what do you want to become? They will say, I wanted to become a professional engineer. Stop beating around. Don't become ambiguous. Be straightforward and then pinpoint your goal. So I used to tell them that what is your dream when you take this trade? Suppose you are an automotive engineer. Automotive engineers have got to 5, 6 big companies in Fiji. Dream where you wanted to become. You wanted to land on an ASCO Motors. You become a manager, supervisor, engineer in that field, or you wanted to become a carpenter's engineer, maintenance supervisor. Dream onto that one. Once you finish your trade at Montfort Boys Town, your dream is already set. You will drag yourself into the place where you wanted to. I am reminded of a story of an old man wanted to climb Mount Everest. When he wanted to climb the Mount Everest, he went to the baseline. And the camp director asked, "Sir, with the due respect, may I ask you, what is the purpose of your coming to the camp?" He said, "I wanted to conquer Mount Everest." Said, "At your age, and you know that at the peak of Mount Everest, there is no oxygen. You have to carry the oxygen cylinder and other gadgets to make you climb up to Mount Everest peak. How will you reach?" The old man's reply was, "My boy, my heart and soul and mind is already there. It's only my body need to be dragged in." Once you have determined your goal, it is only the body need to be dragged in because your mind power is already achieved.
That's so true. I mean, mind is a very powerful tool. Yes,
True,
brother?
very true.
And we'll be back soon on Speak Your Mind. Thank you for your company on your only classic hit radio station in Fiji, Gold FM. This is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits, and my guest in the studio from Montfort Boys Town, Brother Jim, who has been telling us such good things. You know how you brought up about the 5 C's. I mean, if you stick to these 5 C's, you should be set for life, brother. But do continue with what you had to say about the activities at Montfort Boys Town.
Right. So I was talking about the dreams, that you set your goals into some sublime dreams. So my first dream, I used to tell them that when you select your trade, don't just randomly select. Go with your passion from the heart, that you say that this is the trade that fascinates me and I have a passion for it. So you select the trade. The moment you select the trade, you also have a dream of what kind of job you will be doing in the future. So the first dream is land on your dream job. The second dream that I have for you is build a 2-story house. Now, most of the students from the rural areas that come to Montfort Boys Town, probably they may not have a good house, maybe a shanty town like. So I used to tell them, dream of living in a 2-story house. Your parents have suffered a lot. If not your parents, at least your guardians, the one who took care of you until now. Therefore, you need to house them because they too have expectations when they took you from the rural area to Montfort Boys Town to join in Montfort Boys Town. They have expectations on you, and therefore fulfill as much expectations of your parents or guardians or the one who took care of you. Now, we say that you have got a 2-story house. The ground floor, either you rent it out or you house your parents or guardians. The top floor, I am very meticulous in telling to the students that you need to have a 4-bedroom house. You need to have a kitchen, a dining hall, a prayer room, and a sit-out. Even I used to tell them you need to have a bar. So many of them used to tell me, "Brother, what is the purpose of having a bar?" The moment you are having a bar, your social status has increased. That's what you say, that you are born to become a leader. A leader, not necessarily that you have got a bar that you can drink every day. No, but at least you will be inviting the important people in your life, call them for a beer or a glass of wine, share with them. That means you have become an important person. Also, it shows that you have got money. and in the front of your house, you need to have a swimming pool. At least let your children swim. Whichever things that you lacked in your life, you provide to your children. Bring
So true.
prosperity to Fiji. Because the government as well as Friends of Montfort Boys Town is, they are depositing not only their trust, but then they are investing you with their money. So when they are investing with you the money as well as the expenditure, you need to contribute. From competence, you focus on contribution. From selfishness, you go to service.
True.
So when you go that kind of attitude, you can become a true leader. So I said about a dream land on a dream job, then you have to build a 2-story house. You will be housing your parents in the down floor, and then upstairs you and your wife will be living.
Oh,
The
that's
third
nice.
dream that I used to say, that most of the time we used to stand on the road and then we look at the cars going up and down. But forget about the others. I always to tell my boys, when the real players play in an auditorium, the players don't clap. It is the audience that clap. You are not meant to become a clappers.
Yes.
You are meant to play your game. We are your audience. We clap, you play. So I used to tell them that when you stand on the road, don't look for the cars going up and down, but you determine.
Imagine yourself in that car.
Right. And I used to tell them, don't get me an ordinary car. I want you to go in the Prado. So when you go in Prado and then you stop somewhere that you see me and then say, brother, hoping I will drop you at Montfort Boys Town. I can drop dead. That time itself, there is no more living because I have fulfilled my expectations on you. So we have got 3 dreams. And fourth dream, I used to tell them, marry only girl. Although the Catholic theology talks about abstinence until marriage and absolute fidelity after marriage, it doesn't work in
modern
this
days.
right.
Right.
So what I used to tell them that you get married to one and have few kids, look after them, and then make them come up in life. So my fourth dream for the boys. And fifth dream is have plenty of money in the bank. So these 5 C's encompasses the major activities at Montfort Boys Town.
Okay.
We also make it easy. We also believe that when our children are given everything what they ask for, we are not preparing them to face the challenges in their future. So we will put some obstacles and challenges so that they will not back out. One of the examples I used to tell the boys when they get enrolled at Montfort Boys Town is that be like a cat. You throw the cat from any directions, from anywhere, it will land on its 4 legs. It will never get hurt. You should be in that way. And always remember, Montfort Boys Town is a frying pan. The moment we are frying you here in Montfort Boys Town, the moment we throw you out into the world, into the challenges of the day, that you will be able to say, this is only a sun. I will get only sunburns. Not I am out of the frying pan. Sunburns are easy for me to handle. So we need to prepare the children with the challenges, difficulties, so that they will be able to handle all the pressures, not all the pressures, at least 3/4 of the pressures and challenges and problems that they may face in their day-to-day life.
That is such a great point, brother, because, I mean, like you said, if you're going to give them everything they want, you're spoiling them,
Right.
and you're not preparing them, and you're not doing good on their part.
Exactly.
So that's what Montfort does. Okay. Well, we'll be back on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Speak your mind. Hello, this is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the show as much as I am, talking to Brother Jim from Montfort Boys Town. Now, do you have any farming activities?
We do. We do have farming activities. What I believe in Montfort Boys Town is make the activities so exciting. interesting for the boys. So we have got the farm activities. In the farm, we have got only not only planting the root crops. Unfortunately, our land is not that fertile. Although
Okay.
we are trying to artificially make the land fertile.
So why is it not fertile?
Maybe
Is
too
it
much
too
of
wet?
acidity or alkaline,
Oh,
we
I
don't
see.
know
Oh, okay.
exactly. So we don't grow much of crops. But there is a gentleman from the Satisai Group Foundations have given me 10 acres of land in Naua
Okay.
that where we plant some dalo. So that is one activity.
Mm.
The rest of the activities with the boys that we have is we have got goats, sheep, cattle, pigs, ducks, chickens,
That's a lot.
and then the fish. We have got 23 ponds filled with the tilapias and other varieties of fish that we culture. So all these things that come, we used to tell the boys that this is the way that you create a hobby. Your trade skill becomes the main source of income. On Saturday, Sunday, you will concentrate on your hobbies. It can be sheep farm or goat farm or the fish or pig, whatever. So that you get the expertise, know-how from Boys Town. You go to your village, you become a model exemplary in the village, and then create and develop your villages. So we have these activities. We also have games. In the evening programs are the important ones. After the what do you call in the evening after the showers, we have got the different activities like dance competitions, intramural competitions, speech, extemporary speech, then quiz. So this makes the program so
Exciting.
exciting.
It doesn't.
So-
They don't get bored.
They normally don't get bored.
Normally, okay.
If they do get bored, then what we normally do is create some activities that make them interesting.
Yes.
Say, suppose they get too much bored, then we will create a lobo pit. And then we create a lobo and then make the boys to enjoy a good lobo. So these are the activities, blending technical, academic, as well as the farm activities that blend to create a certain amount of passion.
Yes.
Not only passion, excitement.
Mm.
So when it gets so much of excited, they tend to learn their trade better.
Yeah, because if you're interested and you're having fun, obviously you'll have, you like to learn.
So these are the activities that we have in Montfort Boys Town. We also tell the boys that major thing, the purpose of education. Purpose of education is not to learn the facts and figures by heart them. No, that may be one aspect of it. The fundamental aspect of an education is to make your mind think. You need to train your mind to think so that when you go out, there won't be any teachers or brothers to help you out. You need to solve the problem. Therefore, your mind should be active. And in order to be active and train your mind to think, you need to have certain virtues in your life. Discipline, hard work, integrity. These are the three things that differentiate perhaps Montfort boys from others. That they should be disciplined. We discipline them early in the morning.
So you've got a certain time for them to wake up and a certain time, that's really good. That's part of discipline. What?
The timetable begins at 5:30.
Not too
Half
bad.
past 5, then they get up. We give them around 8 minutes for them to dress and do the morning duties.
Make their bed.
Yeah. And then we make them run one round of Montfort Boys Town, come to the dining hall where we have got a small prayer worship.
Okay.
Now, Fiji is predominantly Methodist, and our students are also predominantly Methodist.
Oh.
Then we have got the other denominations of the church. We have got the Catholics, we have got the AG, Assemblies of God, Latter-day Saints, all that denominations. We also have got the 6 Indians, Indo-Fijians, and we have got one Muslim brethren. So we encompass all the races and all the settings of the Fiji. Irrespective of that one, we will have a common prayer which doesn't have much concentration on one faith, and therefore that faith program that we will have, then we will have a singing. I love the music and the singing of my boys, and especially when I sit quite close my eyes, they sing so loud that it reverberates every part of my body.
Oh, nice.
And once that is done, I give them the thought for that day. It won't last more than 1.5 minutes, and that thought will carry them all through. And in the evening, after all the activities are over, we go at 8:30 with the night prayer. Before the night prayer, I used to ask them, what have you learned today? If you have not learned anything today, I'll give you one or two English vocabulary you learn. Let us not hit the pillow before without learning anything. So that at least they know that we need to learn. Every day is a gift from God, and therefore that gift we should make use of it maximum.
Right. And obviously, yes, learning. We learn every day of our lives. I mean, I'm still learning.
Every one
is
of us
learning. Yes.
Even we can learn from the kids, and we can learn also from elderly.
Yes.
So these are the activities that club together in the day-to-day programs.
Yeah.
And then we say that what makes the Montfortians, the students of Montfort, differentiate from the other pack.
Okay, so when you say Montfortian, that is someone who had attended Montfort Boys Town. Okay,
Right.
We'd love to hear that.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, when we say that, what is the fundamental difference between you and the other pack of your own tradesmen? Is the number one is your discipline, your hard work, your integrity. Now, integrity is the important pack of it. Let me explain the integrity part of it. There was an emperor who was ruling a dynasty, and then eventually he was about to die, and he didn't have any children, so he wanted to select among the people of his own country, he wanted to select one youth. So he said, all right, all the youth are welcome to my palace, and therefore I will test you who could be a worthy prince for this country to be ruled after I go. So they came, all the youth assembled together. So he gave one seed each and one pot with mud, fertilized mud. Said, I will call you after 1 year. All of you should come back. So all of them went back, and then when the Tom was watering this plant, they put the seeds into the mud, and then he was nurturing it. However, he took care of it, the seed never grew. And then he was heartbroken. How to present my seed to the king? Nonetheless, his grandma said, Tom, you take the seed and the pot to the king. When he went to the palace, he saw beautiful shrubs in each of the other contestants who wanted to become the prince of that dynasty. He said, my goodness me, how can I compete with these people? And then when the king went around and went around, he saw there was only one pot which doesn't have any shrub. He called the young man to the podium and then said, how dare you come to my palace without sprouting this seed? Tom said, Your Majesty, I have done everything possible, but the seed doesn't grow. I don't know what I have done wrong. I have no idea. And the king said, you are going to be the prince of this country, because I gave you a seed which is boiled. A boiled seed can never grow. Whereas these people wanted to make a pretext of making this seed to grow and then show their integrity is not good. Your integrity I appreciate, and therefore I am going to appoint you as the crown prince of this kingdom. So integrity counts. Without integrity, we cannot go. Even if you have a skill, nobody knows or nobody appreciates how fast you have done the job. Always they remember how best you have done the job. And therefore I tell my boys that you need to differentiate yourself from not only with the discipline, hard work, but a positive attitude for integrity. Your integrity should be the best, such that everyone should be seeking after Montfort Boys Town students.
Yes.
Also, we introduce cadet training program. Cadet training program is introduced in all the schools, even in the academic schools. But I used to tell the boys that why do we have this cadet training program? It is not only the discipline part of it, the drills, these are all part and parcel of it. That we have survival program for you. So the military personnel, they come, they take the boys far away from Montfort Boys Town, 2-3 nights and 2-3 days. We don't provide them any food. They have to find their own food, either from the sea, from the river, or from the bush. Sometimes they also steal, but nonetheless, the purpose of it that they need to find their own survival.
Yes.
I used to tell the military personnel that Montfort Boys Town is your reserve company. That in case of there is a natural calamity in Fiji, Montfort Boys Town will act as a reserve. You call them, they will come. That is their contribution to the country for which they have benefited from your own generous taxpayers' money.
They might find it quite fun going into the wherever.
Bush, it is
Into the-
in the real day that is happening, they may not be very happy because they don't get the breakfast, they don't get lunch, they don't get a dinner. But then what happens is when they finish all that programs, 2-3 weeks after, if I approach them first 2-3 weeks, they might growl at me. But after 2-3 days of this activity, they used to interiorize and then tell me, brother, this program has benefited me. So the difference between the other schools or other cadets and
Right.
the Montfort cadets is that they will stand, as a reserve for the military in case of an emergency, maybe earthquake or flood, whatever.
Well, especially now with climate
Yes.
change, we're getting all these
Exactly.
natural disasters.
True.
That's really
So
good.
these students will act as a reserve so that they can also contribute for their own motherland.
Well, that's what I call self-sufficient on Gold FM. This is Speak Your Mind. We'll be back shortly. Thank you for being with us on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. And my guest in the studio, Brother Jim from Montfort Boys Town. Very interesting to learn how you just teach the boys to be self-sufficient and just getting ready for them in the future. Well, let's talk about the certificates that they get after school. And also another thing, what are the ages are they to start at Montfort Boys Town?
In the beginning, we said that the criterion for enrollment is 17 to 18. But after my coming, we have expanded that age bracket. We said that any student who has got a passion to study at Montfort Boys Town are welcome. So we have got students from 17 to 27.
Oh, okay.
So anyone, I can even accommodate up to 30.
That's
It is
fair
not-
enough.
yeah, anyone, even those who haven't had a continuous study program, maybe they would have left at year 10 or year 11 and then spend some time in the villages, and then they found that life is pretty hard. They need to have a technical skill or competence. And should they apply at Montfort Boys Town, I am more than willing to accommodate them because it is a boarding program. And I also noticed that the higher the age, the maturity of the boys are very respectful. Whereas when they are 17, 18, they are
I
a
can
bit
imagine.
of playfulness
Yes.
in that. They do get 4 certificates at Montfort Boys Town.
Okay.
We fill them for FNU, that is Fiji National University's Level 3 cadre exams. Once that is done, we also fill them for FHEC, Fiji Higher Education Commission's certificates. We also provide an MPT certificates. That is a bit comprehensive. FNU, we only talk about theory and practical. For FHEC, they talk about the theory and practical. For Montfort Boys Town, we encompass theory, practical, English, computer, soft skills, engineering drawing, cutting list preparations, and workshop mathematics. So that is the topic that they cover. Also, they get a cadet certificate from the Fiji military forces once they go through the cadet training program. Also, what we have noticed that we also have interactions. That as I told you, that 2 hours of theory and 6 hours of practical. The practical is done at Montfort Boys Town in their own respective workshops. So we also introduce the industry stakeholders, those who wanted to come and recruit our students. So they will have a free go at Montfort Boys Town. They can come interact with our students, and should they like, they can have an attachment program during the school term breaks, or especially during the annual break. That is
Okay,
from
so when you say school term breaks, how often? Is it like a normal school, 3 terms?
Yes,
3 terms. Okay, right. Okay. carry on.
So annual school holidays, what we do is we get hold of a few industry stakeholders. We attach a few students in that brackets, their own respective industries, and then we get a feedback. And then they keep on corresponding with us so that we can also get the correspondence with them and then talk to the students that these are the ways that they expect you to work in an industry. You don't go and then play around or fool around, and then you need to take your work as a passion rather than just they are paying you, you work for them, your time is from 8 to 5. Do not go to an industry with that kind of an attitude and mentality. What you need to do is, what more can I contribute to that industry's growth so that I can be a contributing member in that industry? So these are the ways that we look at to all these programs at Montfort Boys Town. We also enroll ourselves into Dean's Trophy, although we have never reached the quarterfinals.
Well, at least, I mean, goodness.
And we also have got weekly competitions in rugby, football, volleyball, basketball. These are the ways. There are some students who don't like to play any games. We used to tell them, jog 3 or 4 times around the ground so that at least your body will sweat. No, we
Get your
need
heart
to-
pumping, which is
That's
very
right.
important, yes. Well, unfortunately, we've come to the end of Speak Your Mind, Brother Jim. And I really love to thank you for coming in as our guest today.
Absolute privilege. And I indeed calculate or count this as a blessing to me to make known what Montfort Boys Town is for.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you indeed. On Speak Your Mind, I'm Louise Kaunisela. If you want more content, we normally upload our video on Vimeo and YouTube, and we also have Speak Your Mind on Facebook. Until next week, I hope you enjoyed the show. Nisamo Demanda.